All right. Just wanted to give a video update, and usually when I give a video update, that means that it's a little bit more than just a run-of-the-mill weather event coming, and that's definitely true. First of all, the storm for tomorrow is really kind of interesting right now. It's going to be a very strong cold front, and this storm's going to come through. This cold front's going to come through with extremely strong dynamics, which means it's going to have a lot of energy as it comes through and a ton of cold air with it. It's going to drop temperatures Sunday morning, maybe zero, maybe even below zero in some of the outlying suburbs that I would imagine will hit below zero. The Poconos absolutely will be below zero. But winds on Saturday might be into Sunday, sustained 20 to 30, even more, maybe 30 to 40 mile an hour winds sustained, and gusts up to 60, especially Sunday morning, because the storm, what it's going to do is it's going to come through our area in Philadelphia, and then as it gets off to the Atlantic Ocean, it's going to develop into a full-fledged blizzard. I mean, an absolute bomb, just east of Boston. So Boston's going to get about a foot of snow out of this, and they could get even more than that. Again, they've been snow-rich this year for sure. But that's not going to happen for us. We're not going to get an all-out blizzard. And we're definitely not going to get a foot of snow out of this. It's going to be Boston and north. There's going to be close to 20 inches in Maine. And then this thing really just bombs out. It becomes a 965 low, which is a very strong low pressure system. And that's going to force that cold air. The winds are going to be howling from the north and northwest into Philly. And that's why we're going to see temperatures on Sunday at or below zero, maybe 2 degrees. It's going to be within that range. I would go Philly between -2 and +2. So that would be my guess for Philadelphia for Sunday. You couple that with 40-mile-an-hour winds or 60-mile-an-hour gusts, and you're talking about wind chills in the anywhere from 10 below to 30 below zero. That's stuff that we haven't seen before. Unless you've been in Montana, or you've been in Minneapolis, or if you've been in Canada, or if you've been in Alaska, you really haven't seen that type of wind chill. I haven't, at least, not 30 below. It can freeze your skin. They say 15 minutes, but at 30 below wind chill, it's probably less than that. It's probably maybe, I don't know, 7-8 minutes. So if you're going to go out, cover up. You got to be covered. Frostbite is horrible. You don't want that. It's incredibly painful, and it could lead to severe skin damage and loss of fingers and toes. I mean, that's how dangerous this is. It's not just cold. It's wicked cold, and you got to be ready for it. The other thing is, with those types of winds, you're looking at power outages are very likely. Now, of course, I cannot pinpoint for you exactly where the power outages are going to be. Are they going to be in South Philly? Are they going to be in North Philly? Are they going to be in Westchester? Are they going to be in New Jersey? I don't know. But somebody's losing power. There's got to be some power outages, maybe widespread. If you have sustained 40-mile-an-hour winds and then you have gusts to 60, power lines are going to start to come down, or at least some will. So that's another thing. Make sure you have provisions. I already have firewood. We have food in the house. We have everything that we need in case we lose power. If you lose power and you lose heat and the temperature outside is below zero, you're going to have a very cold house in a very short amount of time. So you want to have blankets. You want to have candles. You want to have flashlights, firewood if you have a fireplace. Have your coats ready, blankets, all that stuff. Just have it near you, because if you lose power, your house is going to drop very cold. Obviously, it's not going to drop to 0 degrees, but it can drop into the 40s, and that's pretty cold to be inside your house. That also means that you probably won't have hot water if you have an electric hot water heater. So just keep those things in mind. Now, let's get to the snow. There will be, I believe, blizzard conditions tomorrow night, tomorrow late afternoon, early evening in Philadelphia, but they will be for a very short amount of time. I'm talking like a half an hour's worth of blizzard conditions, where you have snow coming down at where about an inch an hour, so visibility would drop to a quarter of a mile. You would have the temperatures low enough to be blizzard conditions, and you would have the wind certainly giving us blizzard condition winds. Again, it's not going to last forever. It's going to be maybe a half an hour. Up in Boston and places north, when they have their blizzard, it's going to last for hours. And that's the big difference between how much snow we're going to get and how much snow they're going to get. Right now, my guess for snow in Philadelphia is 2 to 4 inches. That's higher than the National Weather Service, and it's definitely higher than what I've seen on TV. But there's a lot of energy coming down with this cold front that's coming through. And there's going to be some squalls. And I think those squalls can drop an inch of snow in an hour or a half an inch in a half an hour. And if you get a couple of those, there's your, if you get 3 or 4 of them, there's your 2 to 4 inches. Depends on where. Does that mean every neighborhood's going to get 2 to 4? No. That just is a guess for the general Philadelphia area. The only way that we get more than that, and this is possible, but not something I would predict, is if the storm does make a more southern descent into the United States from Canada. So as the storm's coming down, if it's able to dip down and what we call dig and get deeper down below us, maybe into the Virginia area instead of off of the New Jersey coast, well, then we're going to get more snow out of this. There's also something called an inverted trough or a Norland trough, that where that sets up, you get extremely heavy snowfall. And I'll give you an example of that. If you remember last year, December 8th, 2013, we had the Eagles blizzard. And that morning, nothing was predicted for Philadelphia. The prediction was 0 to 2 inches, a coating to 2 inches. It was nothing. And then it was supposed to turn to rain. Well, a Norland trough, which is a trough that is instead of a trough, which is usually north and south, becomes east to west. And what will happen in a Norland trough is you get extremely strong banding of snow in there. Very, very heavy snow. Remember that storm, the Eagle storm, it snowed 8 inches in 4 hours. So we wound up with, on average, 2 inches an hour of snow. That will happen with this storm, but it looks like it's going to happen Trenton north. So if you're in Trenton, if you're in New Brunswick, if you're in New York City, you got to be on a lookout for that, because if that sets up, instead of getting 3 to 6 inches, you could easily see 8 to 12 inches. There is a chance that that can happen in Philadelphia if it sinks far enough south. I don't think that's going to happen with this system at all. I don't, but it's possible. You're talking about the distance between Philly to Trenton. I don't really know exactly how many miles that is, but I'm going to guess around 50 to 60 miles. That's not much. So if that Norland trough sets up a little bit further south, then Philadelphia will definitely get more than 2 to 4 inches. But I'm not going to make that a prediction. I'm not going to pull a you-know-what where I predict 1 to 20 inches of snow. My prediction is 2 to 4. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit it. But I don't see more than that yet. It is possible. As far as next week goes, you got to wait till this one's over. This storm may have a very big influence on next week's storm, because it's going to go up north. It's going to get close to past Maine up towards Greenland, and it's going to be a bomb up there. Now, that may act as what we call a 50-50 low. 50-50 low is a low at 50 longitude and 50 latitude. And if that happens, it sets up blocking. And that's what you really need for a big storm if you want, pardon me, if you want a lot of snow. You need blocking north, because you don't want a storm to start up the coast and then race up the coast. There's nothing to hold it in. When you have blocking, it slows the pattern down. So the storm next Tuesday, if we have a 50-50 low, the storm next Tuesday will start to track north. And then as it does, it slows down. And hopefully, if you like snow, it'll slow down close enough to the coast where we get some heavy snow inland. And then not too far over inland, because then you wind up with rain. The danger with next week is the storm, if the high pressure to the north, or if the blocking to the north is too strong, the storm could go off of the coast around Virginia and out to sea. So then it would be a DC, Virginia, Baltimore snowfall, and Philadelphia would just get a little bit on the northern fringe. So that's a possibility too. My guess is that it will trend north and west. I think Philadelphia is in for a big snowstorm next week. I feel pretty confident with that, but there's no way to tell exactly until we get this one out of the way, because this storm definitely has some influence on what's going to happen next week. So it's a wait and see. So tomorrow, here's the bottom line. Expect 2 to 4 inches of snow. There is the possibility of more than that, but I think that's a remote possibility. There's no doubt there's going to be heavy winds and dangerous wind chills. Again, wind chills between 10 and 30 below zero. There will be power outages. I don't know where, but there will be around this area. Certainly, as you get up further close to New York and Boston, there's no doubt about it. And there's a chance you'll see a blizzard conditions tomorrow for a short amount of time. It's not going to be an all-day thing, but for an hour or two, you might get an incredible burst of snow with heavy winds. There could even be, although it's very remote, lightning involved, but I wouldn't bet on that. So just stay tuned. I'm going to try to track this. It's an hour-by-hour thing now. It's not something that you could just look at the models and know for certain. We're going to have to track this. It's going to be a nowcasting situation. It's the way weather is. You do your best. The models give you guidance. That's all. They can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, especially with a Norland trough. A Norland trough, predicting that is like throwing darts. You may know, they have an idea of where the dart's going to end up, but you have no idea it's going to be exactly in that spot. And if it's 50 miles south of where it's projected right now, Philadelphia gets hammered with a good bit of snow. All right, everybody, thanks for your time. Thanks for watching this. I know it's a long video, but there was a lot to talk about. So enjoy, and I will catch up with you later today.